Please welcome to the stage Waleed Al-Mukarrab Al-Muhairi, Deputy Group CEO of Mubadala Investment Company, for a conversation with Bloomberg's Mallika Kapur.
Waleed, welcome back to Bloomberg House.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Last year, Mubadala was one of the most active sovereign wealth funds in the world. Since we're talking so much about AI today, I wanted to ask you what proportion of your investments went towards AI and other emerging tech?
Mallika, thanks once again for having me. We're just reflecting back on the Bloomberg partnership. It's been years and years, and we're so thankful that you give us this forum to be able to talk about what we need to put out there. So 2025 was a great year for Mubadala, knock on wood. So this is close to wood, yeah. I think, maybe here. But I think, look, it was a great year for us because first you have to understand the way that Mubadala deploys capital.
Yeah.
Mubadala deploys capital through the kind of 4 or 5 main businesses that we have. So if you bear with me, let me just give a quick introduction for the folks that don't know. Number one, Mubadala is a direct investor. And so what that means is private equity comprises the largest part of that capability. And that's obviously an engine with its own set of dynamics. And in fact, we have one of the co-leads, one of our co-CEOs, sitting right over there at the table right in front of me. In addition to the direct private equity, we also have an infrastructure and real estate business, a private credit book. These are all direct businesses that we have spent years setting up, and so obviously are part of that kind of deployment engine that you were referring to. We also have an indirect business that complements what we do extremely well. It's called the Abu Dhabi Investment Council, ADIC. And that's a large business for us, and that's an allocation business where we work with the best funds in the world, allocate capital in those areas that we think are going to outperform. And then third, and I think this might surprise some folks that don't know us particularly well, we manage money on other folks' behalf. So we have GP-led businesses. So the first of which is Mubadala Capital, which is now a large alternative asset manager that manages money from 81, I think at last count, 81 different LPs from all around the world. And then we have MGX, which is an AI-focused third-party capital manager that has now since proved to be quite a large and substantial investor in that space.
So we're also seeing a shift towards private capital, towards real assets. And geographically, last year you'd also talked about Asia-Pacific and emerging markets being an area of importance. Where is Mubadala leaning in right now?
So right now, our portfolio is allocated around 41 to 42% is in the United States. Mm-hmm. And it's in the United States because today, notwithstanding increased fragmentation and a little bit of division around the world, I still think it's one of the best risk-reward that you see that's out there. But at the same time, when I look towards Asia, I see a huge amount of potential. Yeah, I'll give you an example. And I was talking about this a little bit earlier on with some other folks. I mean, look at Korea as an example. Just in the first 2 weeks of the new year, their market is already up double digits. Look at how they performed last year. I mean, so, unless I'm mistaken, it was the #1 performing market in the world. So whether it's Japan, South Korea, India, China, Asia is incredibly important to us, and I see a huge amount of both opportunity and growth. So for us, we're going to keep allocating, obviously, to the United States as our single largest destination. But at the same time, there's so much diversity and opportunity that you're going to see Asia and Asian allocations increasing quite quickly over time.
And thematically, is AI going to continue to be important for you this year at the start of 26?
No question. AI is changing the world. Tell you a story. So it's not just about deploying capital and all the names that you all know, and everybody can take a view about whether something is overvalued or not.
Yeah.
But where you really realize the true potential of artificial intelligence is when you see it affecting you just from a day-to-day perspective. In Mubadala today, the way that we make investment decisions is through our investment committee, which I sit on. And so over the last 9 months, we have booted up, we have created an AI agent, so an AI investment committee member. Mm-hmm. And it started out, I would say at the level of an associate, so just a kind of a relatively junior. Somebody who could do really good summaries. We'd feed in all our investment memos, and then would come back and tell us whether the valuation spread, the football field was right or not. But now it's progressed and it's matured, and so when we talk to it, because we don't have to type anymore, we can talk to it, and it comes back, it's now playing the counterfactual, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And so we tell it to argue against what the team is putting in front of us. And listen, it just gets better and better over time. It's not incredible yet, but it does make you think. And so when I think about it, having that capability is so transformational. The potential is so clear that you want to be part of not only the innovation but the increasing productivity that comes from deploying tools like that. So if everything goes right, I see a rising tide that will bring all ships up.
We're also talking about resilience here at Bloomberg House this week, and you recently partnered with Bloomberg Media on a study examining how global investors are reacting to this climate of uncertainty we face these days. I mean, it feels like we're waking up to a new crisis every day. So from your perspective, what strategies help organizations not just survive a crisis, but actually come out of it stronger?
It's a great question, and I spent a lot of time thinking and talking about resilience, not only here in Davos, but I think in other places. Look, let's unpack resilience a little bit because it means different things to different people. I think the way that you put the question makes it almost defensive, okay? In the sense that yes, you want to cushion your portfolio, right? And so you want to, through diversification, through I think risk management, you want to have that defensive posture, and that's a really important element of resilience. But I don't think it's the full story. So for me, you've got to have kind of an offensive element, right? In addition to that kind of defensive part.
So how do you do that? Yeah.
So first, because we're a long-term investor, we came to realize that having that long-term perspective is in and of itself a form of resilience. Okay? You're not forced to sell something at the wrong time.
Right.
So that's number one. Okay? So that's really important. Second, obviously, liquidity plays an incredible role. Right. So you want to make sure that there's no pullback. So when markets, as they always do, go into that trough, go into that down cycle, you want to make sure that you have the liquidity and the dry powder to be able to seize the opportunity. And so that is also a form of resilience. That is the offensive form of resilience, at least in the way that we put it together. So for me, it's about putting the defensive elements that we all are familiar with and that come to mind, but thinking through how we can put together some of those offensive things that we can do to make resilience kind of an important element for not only how you structure a portfolio, how you manage risk, how you think about themes going forward, and just define what's important to you.
Waleed, we wish you good luck at the start of 2026 and hope you'll come back to Bloomberg House next year.
Thank you so much. Good to see you. All right.